safe. Let's go, champ.
No one's safe. No one's safe.
Let's get ready to rumble!
No one's safe. No one's safe. No one's safe.
Yo, welcome to the Jump Podcast, where no one's safe, a special edition, a red alert, a duck under, grab your stuff, and move on now. So I usually don't get on here without no co-host, nothing, with no warnings, no preparation. But it's something I saw online right now, y'all. So we're gonna be playing this clip, and it's could be a War 3, the beginnings. Let's go into the clip.
Cameraman Yaniv Turgeman. Off in the skyline, we could see these incoming ballistic missiles. They appeared as if they were headed toward the port city of Haifa in northern Israel. The entirety of the country has gotten an alert to head into bomb shelters. This is still an ongoing event, but you can see this video here just captured by Fox News as these missiles were streaming through the skies of Israel. We do know some of them were intercepted. We could hear some distant booms as some of the advanced missile defense systems were engaging these incoming ballistic missiles. But this is an indication that the Iranians have now launched a fifth wave over the past 24 hours, targeting different parts of Israel. We don't know yet how many of these missiles actually landed and hit targets, but we can tell you this is a significant attack for all of them to come at one time. Certainly, we could see from our vantage point more than 15 of them all flying through the skies of Tel Aviv. And again, this was in the distance because if you go along the coast from Tel Aviv north along the Mediterranean, you'll get to the port city of Haifa. And it does appear that was the city that was targeted. You saw earlier today those images from the aftermath of a ballistic missile strike in central Israel, completely destroying an entire block in a neighborhood, killing 2 people and injuring dozens of others. These are very significant and powerful missiles that the Iranians are using. And reports right now indicate that the Israelis are striking a variety of different targets in Iran. I'm just reading from my phone here, John, because there are some initial reports coming in from Haifa of at least 1 impact. And again, we have this video showing you what it was like as these missiles were soaring through the skies of Israel. And again, the initial reports, at least 1 impact. But when you watch this video, it appears there could be even more than that. We will, in the minutes and hours ahead, get more information from local authorities and, of course, from the IDF to understand just how extensive this recent barrage was. But what we can report at this hour, Iran has launched a 5th wave of ballistic missiles against Israel, targeting the northern port city of Haifa. John?
It is described as like trying to hit a bullet with a bullet when you intercept one of these ballistic missiles, Trey. So although Israel has done amazing things with its Iron Dome and David's sling systems, other anti-ballistic missile systems, low flying and high flying, some will get through, apparently.
Yeah, absolutely. And Israeli officials tell us the Americans are indeed helping to shoot down these incoming missiles. They're likely using the Patriot system or even the THAAD system to do so. It's very expensive to shoot down these missiles, and it does take time to prepare the air defenses. And so this is something both the Americans and the Israelis are working on daily, trying to ensure that they are prepared for more barrages of ballistic missiles. And one senior Israeli intelligence source that I spoke with earlier today said, look, they want this conflict to be over in a matter of days, and they believe they can succeed in that objective. But this official warned it will be a very difficult week for the Israeli people, telling civilians to brace for the reality that there will be more damage and more casualties here in Israel, given the fact that the Iranians have one of the most advanced missile programs in the Middle East. We know they have supplied the Russians with missiles that are being used in Ukraine. We've seen the destruction these missiles have caused to major population centers here in Israel, and they are targeting a variety of different things here, making it very challenging for the Israelis to decide where to put their air defense systems, when to activate them, and how to shoot down this amount of fire that's currently happening. John.
Meantime, Prime Minister Netanyahu suggested that there will be more attacks on Iran, that they have many more targets available to them, and that they intend to decapitate Iran's nuclear program. So as these missiles are flying at Israel, there could easily be Israeli attacks on Iran going on right now as well, right? Absolutely. And I don't want to speculate much on why Haifa is the current target for the Iranians, but we should look at something that happened earlier today. An Israeli official speaking to Fox News said that the Israelis targeted a gas field belonging to the Iranians in the southern part of the country near to Bandar Abbas. This is very close to the Strait of Hormuz. And it was an indication that the Israelis were looking to send a message to the Iranian regime that they will now start to go after energy infrastructure targets, something that the Iranians previously said would raise everything up a step on the escalation ladder. Because we do have to keep all of this in mind, despite the war that has erupted. And this is a war. People here are calling it a conflict, an exchange of fire. It is a war between the two countries. They are exchanging fire. They are killing people. But amid this war, there are certain red lines that each side has, and energy infrastructure is one of them. And so as we look forward, we can expect both the Israelis and the Iranians to adjust what they're trying to hit. And we heard earlier today from President Trump saying that he wants to see all of this conflict end. And so the question is, will the Israelis and the Americans be able to say enough or do enough to get the Iranians back to the negotiating table? At this point, that seems far-fetched. But this can't go on forever. And that is the big question that ultimately will come after this round of violence slows down and the missile fire that we have seen toward this country slows down. People will start to discuss what comes next. And there is a question of if there will be room for diplomacy or if this will just relentlessly continue. There are certainly many here who say the Israelis will continue to go after both Iran's nuclear program and also a variety of senior officials there to ensure that they meet their objectives. And an Israeli source telling Fox News today, there are three objectives: to weaken Iran's nuclear program, to take out the country's ballistic missile program, and to stop what this source calls an existential threat to Israel's safety and security. And this source says if they're able to do that, they would end this round of conflict with Iran. John. It shouldn't be lost on our viewers that President Trump said that Iran had 60 days to come to the table, make serious concessions, and, maybe get rid of or at least significantly curtail its nuclear program. And these attacks by Israel came on day 61. I have that right, don't I, Trey?
John, you're exactly right. And these strikes that the Israelis launched against Iran came just days before 6 rounds of nuclear talks were set to take place in Oman. You know, President Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, was channeling those messages back and forth, trying to get an agreement. President Trump has said from the very beginning that he actually sees a prosperous future for Iran, real opportunity for the Iranian people, but that they have to make a deal. And he laid out that 60-day time frame. And just after that time frame is when these Israeli strikes started. And so again, we hear from American officials. We still hear from President Trump about this conflict and about the possibility of diplomacy prevailing. And he's made clear he still wants a deal. And the question is how far Iran is willing to go, how many senior officials they're willing to lose, how much of their nuclear and missile program they're willing to have destroyed before they come back to the table. John.
Trey Yingst doing a great job reporting live from Tel Aviv.
Wow. This is crazy. So this could be a start of a war 3. You know, it's very important to watch the news because you never know. You know, you got Iran with Israel. You've got Russia with Ukraine. That war is still happening. And it's going to trigger. It's going to trigger. China is dying to get into a war with us, USA, because of the ban that we have against China. Russia, I don't know what happened with Putin and Donald Trump. They were good friends at once. Now Donald Trump is saying, yo, you know, you was never my friend. You know, if you don't back up, we're going to back, you know, these people. And then you've got Ukraine. If we all remember Ukraine in the beginning of this Russia situation, they were losing to Russia. Russia was smashing them. And then Ukraine asked United States, how can you allow this to happen? Do you know? How can you just sit back and let Russia destroy us? Well, United States was saying, yo, we're not going to get involved in it, but we're going to help you out. Now, all of a sudden, Ukraine is kicking Russia's butt. Now we got this situation with nuclear bombs. It's going to trigger a whole lot of conflict all over the world. And I didn't want to do this. You know, I don't like to do politics, but this is a hot topic out there, and this could lead to a lot of destruction. You know, we got spiritual warfare. We got the riots here in the United States. Now we got this war that could trigger into a World War III. You know, Israel always has problems, but in the Bible, it says it in the Bible that wars, chaos is going to happen before the days that Christ will come. Is this a sign? You know, let me get some thumbs up. Don't be passing this podcast, y'all, because what I'm doing is I'm giving y'all great information that you need to be aware of, and you need to understand what's going on, because it could come here. It could come here. So all the problems that we've seen in the news, all the problems we're seeing amongst each other, this could trigger a whole bang, and we all going to be involved in it. You know, it's crazy how they just launched all of those missiles at one time. They taking out everything and anybody in the way. Even Trump is saying that if you feel that you can't handle what's going on, get out. But how are people going to get out? It already started. So y'all watch the news. Keep in tune. And we're going to keep y'all updated here at the Jump Podcast to see what else can trigger, or it's going to trigger. It's going to trigger because now Iran is sending this, and Israel is going to have to send back. Crazy. All right, y'all. Let's see if I can find another clip. Here we go.
the Middle East. And the most recent comments coming in from the president talking about this. Breaking news on social media saying Iran should have signed the deal, saying that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. And of course, let's bring into the conversation right now, assistant professor at UT Austin, focusing on Middle East politics and Iran, Dr. Nahid Siam Doost. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And President Trump just saying that within the last 10 or so minutes, everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. Should they take that literally?
I mean, it's a very disconcerting message, and it's also a confusing message because Tehran is a city of something like 15 million people. It kind of expands and during the day, but it's up to 15 million people. And so evacuating Tehran doesn't really make any sense. Where are 15 million people supposed to go? That is, of course, from the Gaza playbook of trying to push people into spaces that are really not tenable. And it's also disconcerting because what are the plans? Are they about to nuke Tehran? Why should everybody evacuate Tehran? Because the Israelis so far have said that they're only attacking and targeting military and nuclear sites. We know this is not true. Having family and friends in Tehran and across Iran, they have attacked many civilian sites, but this is an extremely disconcerting message from the president.
All right, very good. I just wanted to get your take on that. This is also coming in from the Defense Secretary Heggs saying over the weekend directed deployment of additional capabilities to the United States to protect your forces top priority. These deployments are intended to enhance our defense posture in the region. I do want to talk about what we've seen over the last week in terms of the conflict, the escalating nature between Israel and Iran. Let's talk about Iran in this. And of course, we're talking about the stability of it. How unstable is it in Iran compared to just a week ago?
I think the governmental structures are certainly less stable simply because, Israel has taken out a lot of the top military commanders as well as nuclear scientists, and it's been targeting political officers as well, such as one of the top negotiators or the person in charge of mediating between Iran's negotiating team and Iran's supreme leader. And so Iran certainly looks less stable the government looks less stable a few days after these attacks started.
All right, very good. I want to ask you, because we also heard reporting over the weekend that President Trump vetoed a plan by Israel to take out Iran's supreme leader. In terms of that, a regime change, is that something the Iranian people want? Is that something that could help them? Or you, in terms of that, would that make it even more unstable?
It's a very complicated situation right now. Iranians are really in a difficult position in that, for many years they have been thwarted both by their own government as well as by U.S. policies from bringing about reforms and changes from within. But they've been working away at it day after day, working hard to imagine their own future and really,
Wow, people. So you see what they're saying. They're not just targeting military bases. They're actually targeting regular places where we live at. Please like, subscribe to the channel. Y'all, let me get that thumbs up. I'm watching Facebook to see if you guys were commenting on what you see so far. Like I said, it's happening there. United States will back up Israel, eventually. And when they back Israel up, NATO, which Israel is part of NATO, it's going to trigger because you got China trying to get involved in it. They're just waiting to press a button. Unfortunately, United States have a bigger button. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you got Russia fighting with Ukraine and their warfare. Let's get into more to this clip, y'all, because I can't say that much because these people are actually getting the information and it's happening right now. This war is happening right now between. Let's get into what you got to say, y'all.
design their own future. And so now this moment has come where once again we have a foreign power coming into the Middle East and trying to bring regime change to a people and determine their. And as much as Iranians are not happy with their government, they do not want, the majority of them do not want an Islamic Republic. They certainly do not want to have a foreign power come and determine their future for them. No less, Prime Minister Netanyahu, who has for the last 2 years been waging a war of annihilation against another people, which Iranians have been witnessing from their country. So this is not a particularly happy moment in any way for Iranians.
This is an area that you study so very frequently, being from Iran. How much has the culture, how much has Iran changed in just a few short time? And can a regime change bring back something that happened pre-1979?
I mean, that is the fantasy from the US, and it's definitely the fantasy from Israel to have a pre-1979 Iran with, Reza Pahlavi as the crown prince to become the leader of Iran. But Iran is a modern country. It's a modern society with highly educated people. This would be like asking if the US wants to pre-1979 US. No, Iranians have, they advanced nearly 50 years beyond, and they imagine for themselves radically egalitarian and democratic societies, far more progressive than what we see in the US, right? Because that is what they fought for during the Women Life Freedom Uprising in 2022. And so these outside forces with their weird imaginaries of some kind of pre-1979 Iran, that doesn't really gel with the majority of Iranians.
In just terms of this, you talk about that, wanting to be independent and whatnot. Do people in Iran want the U.S. to step back, let Iran and Israel hand it for themselves? Is that something that interests the people?
No. Prime Minister Netanyahu has shown that he's bloodthirsty. He has the blood of tens of thousands of people on his hands across the Middle East. He's attacked Lebanon, he's attacked Yemen, he's attacked Syria. He's attacking all the countries around Israel, all the while pretending that these are defensive strikes or preemptive strikes against other nations, while he is the one who's really bringing destruction to the region. So Iranians do not want to be left alone with Israel. And this is not because they have a love for their own regime, but because they have seen Benjamin Netanyahu's destructive forces across the region. And so they really would like the US to step in for President Trump, who they do happen to like, to step in and mediate. They want him to stop Netanyahu from wreaking havoc.
And then would that mean a deal is more acceptable for the Iranians in terms of the nuclear? Because we've seen President Trump in social media saying that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Is that something that would be more encouraging to see a deal come to fruition about this in some regard?
Absolutely. And, even the Iranian government itself has said that it's not seeking a nuclear deal. And so to have, not a nuclear deal, but nuclear weapons, even the government itself has said so. And so I apologize for that. And so, the International Atomic Energy Agency has been monitoring Iran for 2 decades. And it has been able to certify along the way that Iran has not enriched and is nowhere near to having a nuclear bomb as such. It's still about, I think they've enriched uranium up to 60-something%. And so Iran was in peace talks with the Trump government. And so Netanyahu just seized this opportunity to break off those peace talks because Israel fundamentally does not want for Iran to have a peace deal with the US. For Israel, it is, especially for its current prime minister, it's extremely convenient to have this war on his hands because his popularity was sinking in his own country with the war that, with the failed war in Gaza, where the 2 main goals were to eliminate Hamas and bring back the hostages. And he's done neither of those 2 goals. And so he's really just started this war, 1, to prevent peace between Iran and the US, and 2, to increase his own popularity, which apparently is happening because Iran has been built up over the.
He started this war because he wanted to be popular. You heard what she said. This is crazy. This is crazy. I'm babbled here. I can't even explain what's going on. These people, because they want to be famous or because they don't like somebody, some type of people, we all people. Like, what are you guys doing? You had a chance to sit at the table. You ain't want to sit at the table. So you want to go ahead and start a war with nuke. You know, why don't you do it like the old school days? You had some for somebody go in the backyard, man. Why are you taking everybody with you? And the war is supposed to be with certain people, not with everybody. They are destroying or trying or thinking of destroying Israel. Let's go into more to the clip, y'all.
Decades by Netanyahu himself as this huge threat to the Israeli nation, and they've all bought the script, and they are behind him right now.
Dave's field communications are all over the place, and team's team management puts it all.
Unbelievable, y'all. Unbelievable. I think it's going on. Keep an eye out here. What do you guys think about the situation? I know some of y'all don't care, some of y'all don't listen, but this could be a big thing. This could be a start of a war 3. And it's bad, y'all. This could be really, really, really bad of how this is going to end up at. You know, let's get into a commercial break.
About
Let's get
communication
into
because
some more,
we
y'all.
saw the Iranian TV with during a live broadcast, a state television reporter, and the studio was filled with dust after an explosion occurred, a missile landed there nearby. Well, how do we view that? How do we view the communication lines, and how much of a strain does it put on just the out in terms of this when that happens?
It puts a huge strain. I know because they're torn between seeing events happening, the of the television because that's been the has fed Iran propaganda.
Look at the destruction of what's going on. This is not, something where, buildings in the capital, it's happening in the cities. People don't know what to do out here. People don't know what to do. I want to think about, we're going to keep our eye out here on this war. And please be careful, man. Keep your eye on the news, because this thing could lead right here. And remember, y'all heard it here from the Jump Podcast. Our condolences go to all those people that lost their lives. How many lives are lost? We don't know. How gonna be lost? Hopefully they stop and go to the table and stop everything. So we're gonna let y'all go right now, y'all. But I do want to say thanks for everybody who tuned in. We had a lot of numbers here. I'm looking at the numbers, and the numbers are climbing. I'm your boy from start, and I look out for the people because we are the streets. I want to thank Tata. I want to thank Unique. I want to thank everybody who supported this podcast. Team Miami, Team Tacoma, LA, everybody. And thank y'all for tuning in to the Jump Podcast, where we hit the top of the line of topics, and nobody else can do it like we do it. All right, guys, we're going to keep our eyes open and ears open and see what's going to happen. Over there, it's morning time, and they're at it. It's crazy. Yeah, it's gonna be a very, very ugly place going forward. We're gonna put up this comment, and they're right. It's gonna be very, very ugly, man. It's not gonna be pretty at all. what's going to happen is our crazy president doing crazy things going to be the one to stop it. Or who's going to stop it? I don't see nobody stepping up to stop it, which is crazy. But thank y'all for tuning in to the Jump Podcast where no one's safe. And y'all be safe, y'all. Love, peace, and remember, put God first, man. Especially now. Pray more than ever. Take care of your family. Get ready. Buy your things that you need. Like food. Lights. If you got to defend yourself, you already know what I'm about to tell you without telling you. It's crazy out here, man. And it's going to get ugly. Until next time, y'all. Love, peace, and put God first, y'all. I'm Jumpstart. I'm signing off. If more updates come, I will be putting it up. I will be broadcasting live. And thank you.
No one's safe. No one's safe. No one's safe.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Let's go, champion. Let's go, champion.
No one's safe. No one's safe.
Let's get ready to rumble.
No one is safe.
No one's safe.